And that no acting school can teach you that. I did this whole song actually in one take. I don't like to follow a herd. I like to do things in my own way. Anything that is negative, I will veer towards a positive direction. When I was 10 years old, I used to be in the bathroom because that's where the sound was always the best. The toothbrush was my mic.
Jai ho, Jai ho, Jai ho. This is Jay Kumar Show.
Hello, Namaste, Salam, Sat Sri Akal. Welcome to Jai Ho, the Jay Kumar Show. This is the show where we try to bring you a dose of motivation and inspiration with a tadka of entertainment. In today's episode, we have someone who disrupted the pop and indie pop genre with her powerful, unconventional voice. Dusky, lissom, and husky, she started modeling and singing at the age of 17. In 1990s, Shweta Shetty, our guest, had stormed into the hearts of the fans with her debut indie pop album, Johnny Jokers. Her ability to blend powerful voice with the melodic compositions paved her way to Bollywood to give some of the biggest hits like A.R. Rahman's Mangta Hai Kya from Rangila, and later songs like Poster Lagwa Do, Dilli Ki Sardi, Kale Kale Baal, Pichu Pade, and super duper hit and my favorite, Dil Tote Tote Ho Gaya with Hansraj Hans. And now, away from the limelight for some time, the indie pop phenomena was back last year with the disco version of her ballad, Jalne Mein Hai Maza. And this year, she launched her spiritual side with Gayatri Mantra. Today at Jai Ho, the Jay Kumar Show, we are really thrilled to have this indie pop queen with us, who will surely take us for a ride in her journey to impel ourselves in positive directions. So ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the beautiful, the talented Shweta Shetty. Shweta ji, welcome to Jai Ho.
Oh, how sweet. Thank you so much.
Let's get started, Shweta ji. Very recently, you launched your version of Gayatri Mantra in your voice. And I happened to listen to that one. It's a wonderful track. I loved it. और कहते हैं किसी भी अच्छी शुरुआत के लिए, किसी भी इवेंट के लिए, किसी भी शो के लिए शुरू में ही गायत्री मंत्र पढ़ना चाहिए. तो क्यों ना हम अपने शो की जो शुरुआत है वो गायत्री मंत्र से ही करें आपके.
वक्रतुंड महाकाय सूर्यकोटि समप्रभ निर्विघ्नं निर्विघ्नं कुरु मे देव सर्वकार्येषु सर्वदा. Om Bhurbhuvah Swaha Tatsaviturvarenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo yo. Has been, Jay, one of my biggest dreams, as a singer who's done pop, who's done Bollywood music, who's done musicals, who's done jazz, who's done opera. It was very difficult for me to convince people that I can sing bhajans too. And every time I put forth the idea of wanting to do a Gayatri mantra, Ganesh mantra, he said, "नहीं श्वेता जी, आप पे सूट नहीं होगा." और मैंने कहा, क्यों भाई? या आप तो पॉप सिंगर है, ये है, वो है, फलाना दीना. हर लोग, they have a certain image about you, and I wanted to break that. And I said, if nobody's going to help me do that, I am going to do it. And I luckily had the opportunity because I did a show for one of the biggest wedding magazines in the country called Wedding Sutra. And my dear friend Arti Surendranath called up Parthiv Tyagarajan, who's the founder of Wedding Sutra. And I said, I want to sing the song. And he got me in touch with Mihir and Maddock. And it's just come out so well because I just sang it with so much of feeling. I said, it's like a dream come true to sing the Gayatri Mantra. I just love the Gayatri Mantra. I think it's one of the most powerful mantras. That's why it's called the Maha Mantra. And I just release it. It's available on Spotify, Amazon, Instagram, Ghana, Jio, Savan.
Very interesting. So, Shweta ji, I'm very curious to know, like, not long back, you were singing the songs like Dil Tote Tote Ho Gaya, ya Deewane To Deewane Hain, and many happy numbers like that. And now, you're singing Gayatri Mantra, Ganesh Bhajans. So, very big transition. Few days back, you were walking on ramp. You have that kind of a, you were fashion icon, you have done, you were on the magazine covers. And now you are doing Padyatra. So from ramp to Padyatra, from Dil Tote Tote Ho Gaya to Gayatri Mantra. So my question is, why such a big transition?
Jay, everybody at certain point have a certain calling. And I've always been very spiritually inclined because my father is very spiritual. My father's brother, who took up Mahasamadhi at the age of 90. And I think I'm the only one in the family. Yeah, he took up Mahasamadhi at the age of 90. He went to the Himalayas. So I think, and I'm also the only one in the family that is spiritually inclined as far as meditation is concerned, yoga is concerned. As a child, I used to always sing with my mother, and they were bhajans. I used to also sit with my father when he used to do his aartis and everything. So I think it is intrinsically ingrained in me. And I think the older you get, the wiser you get, the circumstances around you sometimes make you just... I'm a very positive person. And anything that is negative, I will veer towards a positive direction. I will never veer towards anything that takes me from my true calling. So I'm really happy. And I think that's always when you're spiritually inclined, when you're doing positive things like yoga, meditation, you can't go wrong. You can't take the wrong route. Even if you do take the wrong route, you will always find the right route. So I hope that answers your question. That I'm proud to say I enjoy singing Tote Tote Ho Gaya, and I enjoy singing my pop numbers. I enjoy singing sexy numbers, and I enjoy being sexy. And also, there's a spiritual side to me that I think I'm nurturing now, which is why the Padyatra, which is why the Tirth Yatra, and singing the Gayatri Mantra and the Ganesh Mantra. It all just culminates together at the right time. Yeah. So, Shweta ji, this triggers me another question actually. I've seen that many singers across the world, actually, famous singers, at certain point of their life, I don't know if they get some kind of a calling or what, but they get into the religious singing, some kind of at some point
I
or
can
the
give
other,
you some examples, but
but I don't
yes,
think that there's a certain stamp on singers that you look like that, you should be like that. Like I did a very sensual song called Jalne Mein Hai Maza recently, last year, which was released on Sony Music. And that was very sensual because it required me to be sensual. It's called Jalne Mein Hai Maza. It's all about love. It's all about passion. And I love doing things like that also. Because I don't think the older you get, I'm going to become now a sannyasin or something. You know what I mean? That ain't happening. Because, like I said, I love experimenting. I've experimented with so many things. And the Gayatri Mantra and Ganesh Mantra is just one of the different angles to me. And I think that's just wonderful. But like I said, I love trying different things. So even if you hear the Gayatri Mantra and the Ganesh Mantra, it's not a typical song which is sung like everybody sings it. I don't like to follow a herd. I like to do things in my own way, have the own Shweta Shetty charm to it. And it's a very different Gayatri Mantra. You know, and that's I think one of my strongest points is to take a song and sing it in such a way that it has my hallmark on it. You know what I mean? It shouldn't be like, oh, she sounds like so and so and she's copied this and this. I hate that. I like to carve a niche than follow something.
So, Shweta ji, you have a very special texture in your voice, in a way that, you know, any song by you, it's very easy to recognize who is singing. You know, people can identify it just immediately. Oh, this is Shweta's songs. And there are very few singers in the industry, especially from 90s and 2000s. It's not that easy sometimes that who is singing this song, but you have that kind of a texture that people can easily identify that Shweta Shetty is singing this song. So did you do any kind of a special training to have that kind of a texture in your voice?
You know, Jay, when I was a little kid, I think music has always been a very, very strong part of me because my mother had a beautiful voice. Of course, she couldn't really make a career out of it because she had children to look after. But I, as a child, when I was 10 years old, I used to be in the bathroom because that's where the sound was always the best. The toothbrush was my mic. And I used to sing all the Whitney Houston songs, all the Mariah Carey songs, all my idols. And I used to love the sound of my voice. And of course, on the other hand, I used to sing bhajans with my mother. So I think the seed was already in me. And I always feel, Jay, music, dance, art, any form of art is something which you are born with. No school will ever teach you to be a singer if you don't have the talent. You either have it or you don't have it. And when you don't have it, you can spend millions and lakhs and go to the best school and you will still not bring it out. One way I can understand this whole nepotistic thing. You know, there's a big hoopla about it. But on one hand, I can understand Karan Johar, where he takes really film stars' children, because it is in their DNA. It runs in their blood. You see? I mean, when you see a Hrithik Roshan or when you see an Alia Bhatt, and when you see some of these actresses, they're just so natural. They're so amazing. Like, my God. And that no acting school can teach you that. You see? So this is something that is born within you. And I have that, my mother's talent running in my blood. And that's the only thing that I can say I have. I don't know about anything about me, but music is in my blood. I'm happiest when I'm on stage. I'm happiest when I'm in a studio. And I'm happy I could have all these wonderful opportunities to bring my music across. Today, you don't really need, of course, it's always wonderful to have a big company like Sony or T-Series backing you. But sometimes when you don't have that, there are different platforms where you can reach your fans today. Like I'm doing it with the Gayatri Mantra, So, the world has opened up. There are many platforms that have opened up where you can just bring your music across to the people who want to hear you.
Yeah. And Shweta ji, your answer actually triggered me another question, my favorite question, which is related to one of my favorite authors' book. His name is Malcolm Gladwell. The author's name is Malcolm Gladwell. And he wrote a book called Outliers. Okay. I don't know if you have heard about him.
Sorry, I haven't heard about him. No,
I can send you the link. So he came out with his theory with a lot of evidence and data. This is called 10,000 hours theory. And he suggested that you can be the master of any skill if you practice that skill for 10,000 hours. And he gave that example, especially with the singing, and he gave the examples of Beatles, how they performed for the 10,000 hours in Berlin or Hamburg. So he provided a lot of other data, and he said anyone who is practicing any skill for 10,000 hours, he can be master of that particular art. Another professor, Stephen D. Morris from Northwestern University, he also came out with his own research, and he claimed that singing is a skill which you can acquire with practice. So singing is not a talent which you are born with. I'm sure
that book wasn't a bestseller.
Okay.
I beg to differ. He begged to differ. I know a lot of singers who've gone to the best of school. Let's not name them. But they try, and I think they put more than the hours mentioned in this book, and they still can't sing. Like I said, acting, singing, painting, dancing. You have to have it in you. There has to be some kind of seed which would germinate. Maybe he means you can practice and put in so many hours and you can become a singer. But there's a difference of being a singer who's going to create a path which is going to be unforgettable, and you're going to become a singer that is just a mediocre one that has just done a lot of homework and has worked very, very hard. Which a lot of these singers do, like in, Indian Idol. I see the talent. I see the hard work. But some of them have it and some of them don't. Which is why some of them make it and some of them don't. But I don't agree that putting in all that hours is going to, like tomorrow, Jay, you're trying to tell me if you put in 1,000 hours, you're going to become, come on, seriously. Would you really become a singer?
Yeah.
Outdo me.
So you mentioned about Indian Idol. There have been a lot of controversies around Indian Idol, especially last year, right? So any comment on that?
Well, I heard Sonu Nigam's interview. And obviously coming from Sonu Nigam, I will, because I look up to him. He's one of the finest singers the country has ever had. But you see, Indian Idol is not the only one, probably. There are a lot of other shows around the world which do a lot of things to make the show perfect. because there is no place for anything that is theek. It has to be wow. But today, in today's times, you actually see that the singers are singing live. You can actually see it because I'm a big Indian Idol fan. I watch whenever. That's the only thing. I don't watch television. I don't read the newspapers for years. But sometimes when I do, then I watch Indian Idol, and because the voices are just so amazing, and there's just so, some of them are just so young, and I'm like, oh my God, where did they get that sur, that tal, that thing to hold those notes and everything? Not all the what do you call it, reality shows are fantastic, but it happens worldwide. Let me put it this way. It's not just India and Indian Idol. There are a lot of other things, like even when you watch all these beauty shows, their bodies are retouched, the cellulites are all gone on screen so that they have that perfect 10. But you see, the entertainment industry has become just so competitive that there's no space for mediocrity, which is why I think people are just doing what they're doing. But I seriously think that we can't condone that and say it happens all the time. Maybe there's sometimes a few correction that happens, but I think it happens all over the world. But I can understand Sonu, because Sonu is a perfectionist. Like I said, he's one of the finest singers we have in this country. And I can imagine his singing like, oh my God, listen, when we sing like this, then I don't think we should make any allowances with the others. They have to be perfect, because if you're going to be the next idol, where this country of 1.2 billion or 1.4 billion is going to follow you, you better damn do a bloody good job of it and be the best for you to be the Indian Idol.
Well said, well said. You mentioned about Sonu Nigam, and very recently Sonu Nigam got a Padam Shri.
Rightfully so. He deserves it. I think it's a bit too late. It came a bit too late. He absolutely deserves it. Congratulations. Jay, I said, I hope I'm alive when I get the Padma Shri.
I'm sure. Yeah, one day, someday, our best wishes, and you should get it. So let me ask you this. In 90s and 2000s, pop music was such a big thing. So independent albums were a big thing. The music was as good as the Bollywood music. And it had such a strong influence, especially on 90s kids and 2000 kids, that pop stars used to be huge. They were as good as, you can say, as Bollywood stars. And now maybe that influence has gone down over the time, but at that time it was huge. So why there is not that much acknowledgement or recognition for the pop stars, like the way they acknowledge the Bollywood music, and both Bollywood and pop singing goes side by side, but it seems like in last few years it's not the same. Pop is way behind now, and not much acknowledgement.
Ooh, yeah, that's a good question, Jay. So you see, in the 90s, the singers were on par with Bollywood, because we had such a huge fan following in the 90s. We used to have shows with 50,000 people, a lakh. We really had people who loved you as much as they loved maybe a Shah Rukh. No, maybe not that much, but Bollywood has always been 10 steps ahead, and has been the step brother and step sister. But we were happy because we were not greedy, because we knew we would never reach that. Because you see, the budget for a Bollywood song or a Bollywood film, you have 100 violinists, you have everything live. We didn't have that kind of money. We had probably, I remember Ken Ghosh had a budget of maybe 2-3 lakhs to do a video, which we did with Johnny Joker. We had probably, okay, we graduated to 5 lakhs. Do Deewane To Deewane Hain. कैसे मैं सारा दिन घर में बिताऊं, नजरें मिलाऊं तो मैं कैसे मिलाऊं, दीवाने दीवाने तो दीवाने हैं, दीवाने दीवाने तो दीवाने हैं, चुपके से चोरी से मिलने वो आया, प्यार भी चोरी से उसने जताया, नाना जो कि मैंने तो गुस्सा दिखाया, दीवाने दीवाने तो दीवाने हैं. So you see, with that small budget, but with brilliant ideas and original songs, and the singer, who had her own identity, who didn't follow, copy anyone, who just did what she wanted to do. I think that kind of, the fans identify with us. You see, because we all in the 90s came from a conservative family, we still do. But obviously today's kids are, we didn't have so many channels. We didn't have so many videos those days. We had just MTV, Channel V, but many things was censored, which today we don't. So you see that the kids identified with us, which is why today they love us even today. I mean, I remember 2 of my songs going viral with the new generation, which I thought was just so sweet. During the lockdown, Deewane To Deewane Hain went viral, where the younger generation, we're talking of generation from the age of 10 to 30, 34. And then, of course, Tote went viral, again from a generation that was not born when I did these songs. But you see, people are craving for that kind of thing because, Bollywood has its space. But people are slowly opening up to independent artists like me and a lot of other artists, independent music, which is why during the lockdown I did a song called Darona, because we were all just so scared. We were all at home. I just did this home video and I said, let's see how it works. One thing led to another, and then, I did Jalne Mein Hai Maza again during the lockdown.
Now this is triggering me another question actually. There are so many reality shows on the TVs already, especially most of these shows are designed, when we talk about Indian Idol or Superstar, something. These kind of shows are designed to cover largely, if I understand correctly, is on the playback singing, on the Bollywood side. And very recently, actually, I was, I observed that while talking to Suresh Watkarji's, that company, that school, is there is another show which is coming on TV, which is Swar Bharat or something, which is based on the classical singing. So there is a competition based reality show on the classical singing, and then Indian Idol and other shows which we already know on the playback singing, but there is nothing on the pop singing. So there is a space for the reality shows purely for the independent music or for the pop music. I also have a second question related to it, is that in none of these shows, as far as I know, and if I'm not, if my information is correct, is that we have not seen Shweta Shetty in any of the reality show as a judge, coming on the shows, or you know what I mean on that.
Absolutely right. Everybody has asked me, said, Shweta, how come you're not there for all these reality shows? Some of the judges, they're all wonderful. Nobody has asked me, Jay, to be very honest. And also it could be the fact that I was away in Germany for 20 years. I came back in 2015 and I slowly started getting back my musical vibe, I would say, during the lockdown, during the pandemic, which is, 2019, 2020. So I would really love to be a part of something like this, because I just feel that we have so much of talent in this country, Jay. We have so much of talent. My God, I don't think even 1/4 of it is actually tapped, because the kids today, boy, can they sing. I mean, we're talking of some of the Rajasthani singers, some of the classical bass that they have. I think for a singer, it's always wonderful to have a classical bass. Everybody tells me, says, Shwets, where do you think I should go to a school? Which school should I go? I just said, get yourself a nice classical teacher. Get the classical bass, because once you have that bass, there are many genres of music that you can sing. And I had that classical bass with my mother, and then also Guruji's that I did. I wasn't really great classical fan, but slowly, I was more into soul and, Aretha Franklin and things like that. But it's a wonderful bass to have, and I thank that bass that I had as a kid, because today I've done really a lot. I've done opera with Sarah Brightman. I have done, classical with Jam and Spoon, great techno DJs. I've also done a little bit of classical also with the Gregorian, who sang Enigma. That's with Frank Peterson. So I've had the opportunity to do all these things. And of course, Mangta Hai Kya was also again more of opera, soul kind of feel to it. I've tried Punjabi with Tote Tote. Deewane was a very rustic song. Now the bhajan. So I love to experiment. I love it when someone says, you can't do that. No, this song is not for you. I love it. That's when I take up that challenge. I love challenges. And that's been my career. When you say, oh my God.
Well said. And ladies and gentlemen, when you talk to a legend like Shweta Shetty, it's not possible to finish the conversation in one episode. So we'll continue our conversation with Shweta in our next episode. तब तक आप श्वेता जी के कुछ दूसरे गाने सुने, and I promise you when she comes back she will definitely going to sing दिल टोटे टोटे हो गया and some of other hits. तब तक आप सुनते रहें श्वेता के दूसरे कुछ गाने, और तब तक आप सबकी जय हो.
Jai ho, Jai ho, Jai ho. This is Jay Kumar Show.
अखियां लड़ी हो लड़ी बीच बाजार दिल मेरा लुट गया